If I'm going to go on helping you with your inquiries, I can't keep calling you Inspector.
Morse. It's just Morse.
The man who insisted on the 2-hour format that changed British television forever was the same man who let a Welsh rainstorm accidentally create one of the most watched detective dramas in history. And John Thaw was already dying when he filmed Morse's final scene. Behind Britain's most intellectual detective lies a story darker than any of his cases.
Where's that Chardonnay?
Going upstairs with me.
Fact 1. It invented the 2-hour format.
I can't. Please don't ask me why. I just can't. Her name's Williams.
When producer Kenny McBain brought Inspector Morse to ITV in 1987, he made a demand British television had never heard before. The show would occupy a 2-hour slot. Not 60 minutes, not 90. 2 full hours. This was genuinely unprecedented. The networks considered it commercially risky. Advertisers were uncertain, schedulers were reluctant, and there was no evidence audiences would commit to 2 hours of detective drama on a weeknight. McBain held firm. The format was, he argued, essential to the kind of storytelling he wanted. Leisurely, novelistic, allowing character and atmosphere to breathe rather than cramming plot into an hour. The gamble paid off immediately. The first episode drew substantial audiences, the format was retained for all 33 episodes, and the 2-hour slot became so associated with prestige drama that it reshaped ITV's scheduling priorities for years. Every British drama that now occupies a 2-hour slot, Midsummer Murders, Endeavour, Lewis, Broadchurch, exists because Kenny McBain refused to make Morse shorter. The format that is now standard was once a fight.
Did he say where he was going?
Not to me.
Well, don't taxis usually want to know?
Yes, but he doesn't seem to have said anything to me.
Fact 2. The Jaguar was John Thaw's idea.
We haven't met. I'm Sergeant Lewis.
You have met Lewis. You've taken this man's fingerprints.
No, so that's the Mr. Richards whose prints I took. Tony Richards.
In Colin Dexter's original novels, Morse drove a Lancia. When the television production began, John Thaw looked at the Lancia and decided it was not good enough. He proposed a red Jaguar Mark II, a 1960 model, registration 248RPA. Dexter was initially resistant, but came round. He was so persuaded by the visual impact of the car on screen that he went back and changed the Lancia to a Jaguar in subsequent reprints of his novels. The television adaptation literally rewrote the source material it was based on. The car became one of the most recognisable vehicles in British television history. After the series ended, the production gave it away in a competition.
When did you last see Mr. Quinn?
10 to 5 last Friday, sir.
In 2002, it sold at auction for £53,200, many times the going rate for an ordinary 2.4 Jaguar of the same age. In 2005, it sold again for more than £100,000. A car that existed in the novels as a Lancia changed to a Jaguar at an actor's insistence, rewrote the books it came from, and eventually sold for 6 figures. The Jaguar is now so inseparable from Morse that most fans are unaware it was not Dexter's original choice. It took one actor's instinct to create what became an icon.
I watched him back his car out of his space there and drive off home.
Fact 3. Oxford wasn't always Oxford.
Everybody has crushes, that's what we're trying to say to you.
Everybody has crushes. Everybody has boyfriends. Or not, as the case may be.
Viewers absorbed an image of Oxford as a coherent atmospheric whole. The spires, the colleges, the pubs. The reality was considerably more complicated. Television economics made sustained Oxford filming expensive. Union rules on overtime meant it was too costly to keep crews away from London for extended periods. The show's interior filming base was in Ealing, West London. Many scenes that appear to be inside Oxford buildings were actually shot there. The pub interiors were particularly affected. In the very first episode, Morse and Lewis enter the old bookbinders in Jericho, a genuine Oxford pub that fans have visited specifically because of the show. The interior was filmed at Bray Studios in Berkshire. Fans who visit the real pub expecting to recognise it, always disappointed.
Crushes on teachers?
Sure.
Valerie?
Everybody.
There aren't that many male members of staff to choose from, are there?
Not that they necessarily would have to be male. There's Dooley.
The Oxford colleges presented a different problem. The show invented fictional colleges for many episodes and used real ones to represent them. Brasenose and Exeter stood in for Lonsdale College. Corpus Christi doubled as Beaumont. New College played St Saviour's. The Oxford that Morse inhabited was assembled from pieces of the real city. The Oxford audiences believed in was partly real, partly Ealing, partly a construction. They never noticed, which is the truest measure of how well it worked.
So they're all yours. If they bite, press the fire alarm. Or get them to press their personal alarms.
Fact 4. Dexter appeared in almost every episode.
The knife that killed Mary. Her father said he lost it about a year before. Who could have known it was his?
Colin Dexter maintained an unusually close relationship with the television adaptation. He appeared in person in almost every single episode, making uncredited cameos in all but 3 of the show's 33 episodes. He is there in courtroom backgrounds, walking past in street scenes, sitting in pub sequences. Dedicated viewers have spent years identifying him across the series. Dexter loved the adaptation. He was not an author who maintained polite distance from what had been done to his work. He was on set, visible on screen, and genuinely enthusiastic about what Thaw and the production had created. After Dexter's death in 2018, his estate confirmed he had decreed that no one should play the older Morse again as long as his estate controls the copyright. The man who appeared in the show for its entire run wanted the Thaw version to remain definitive. In 30 appearances across 33 episodes, Dexter was as consistent a presence as Thaw himself. Most viewers never spotted him once.
Oh, I'll call you when you get back. In the middle of the night, if I can. Inspector.
Fact 5. The writers went on to Hollywood...
Well, anytime, I'm not going anywhere. I don't believe you.
Inspector Morse's writing team was assembled with unusual ambition. Rather than working with established television writers, McBain recruited literary and theatrical talent who had barely worked in television before. Anthony Minghella wrote the first episode and 2 more. Within a decade, he had directed The English Patient, which won 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. John Madden directed multiple episodes and went on to direct Shakespeare in Love, which won 7 Academy Awards in 1999. Julian Mitchell, who wrote several episodes, was already known for the acclaimed stage play Another Country. Danny Boyle, who also directed episodes of Morse, subsequently directed Trainspotting, Slumdog Millionaire, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Director, and the opening ceremony of the 2012 London Olympics. A British detective drama broadcast on ITV served as an early credit for directors who between them won multiple Academy Awards. The show that invented the 2-hour format also assembled the most overqualified directors in British television history.
Protestant martyrs Cranmer, Ridley and Latimer were burned by Bloody Mary. That's where the tour starts tomorrow morning.
If you're enjoying this, it would mean a lot if you subscribed. It helps us keep making videos like this one. Just hit that button and you'll never miss a new one.
Actually, tomorrow's a relatively easy day compared to the day after. Blenheim Palace, then Stratford-on-Avon.
I thought it was Stratford-upon-Avon.
Fact 6. Thaw was seriously ill at the end.
She was never short of men, her school friend confided.
The final episode, The Remorseful Day, was broadcast on November 15th, 2000. In it, Morse suffers a heart attack and dies, fulfilling the ending Dexter had written for his final novel. 12 million Britons watched. What most viewers did not know was that John Thaw himself was gravely ill during filming. He was diagnosed with cancer of the esophagus in June 2001, but the illness had been developing earlier. His physical deterioration during the filming of that final episode was visible to the production team. Thaw died on February 21st, 2002, 14 months after the final episode aired and 7 weeks after his 60th birthday.
She was always in love. Every 5 minutes was her best friend.
The performance he gave, a man confronting his own mortality, solving one final case from a hospital bed, was not entirely fictional. Thaw was playing a version of something he was living. 12 million people watched without knowing they were watching a dying man give his final performance.
I'm very happy to talk about this another day.
He is remembered primarily for Morse, though he was also Jack Regan in The Sweeney, a BAFTA-nominated film actor, and an RSC performer. Morse is what he left behind, and it ended with a death scene that carried a weight its audience could not have fully understood at the time.
I loved her.
Right.
It was mutual.
Yes.
Although she couldn't express it, of course, because of her position.
Fact 7. The character named after a bank chairman.
My name is Morse. I'm a police officer. I was a friend of your daughter's.
Morse's surname is not arbitrary. Colin Dexter named his detective after a real person, Sir Jeremy Morse, who was chairman of Lloyd's Bank during the period when Dexter was writing the early novels. Sir Jeremy Morse was also a renowned crossword compiler, one of the finest in Britain. Dexter was a crossword obsessive himself, and the double connection was irresistible. The first name, Endeavour, was introduced much later. In the books, Morse is consistently evasive about it, treating his first name as a source of personal embarrassment.
You didn't see anyone else there?
Only Noakes. I looked in all the rooms. He did too.
You didn't see Mr. Martin or Mr. Ogilvy?
The television series maintained this mystery for most of its run. When it is finally disclosed, the explanation is that Morse's father was obsessed with Captain James Cook and named his son after HMS Endeavour, a name combining naval history with personal humiliation, exactly the kind of layered detail Dexter enjoyed. The real Sir Jeremy Morse was reportedly amused by the character named after him. He lived to see Morse become one of the most famous detective names in British cultural history. Not bad for a bank chairman whose main connection to fiction was solving crosswords.
Ah, Morse. Nothing left to do. What? Setting up as pathologist, I hear.
Fact 8. It has been seen by 1 billion people.
He or she was between 4:15 when Mr. Poindexter left his wife and went for his walk with Mrs. Brown.
Inspector Morse was one of the first British dramas to successfully cross the Atlantic, building a substantial American audience through PBS Masterpiece, at a time when British television exports to the United States were far from routine. At its peak in Britain, the show drew up to 18 million viewers per episode. The final episode drew 12 million. These were numbers that shaped ITV's priorities and proved that literary detective drama could command audiences previously thought to belong only to soap operas. By the time it ended, Morse was being broadcast in approximately 200 countries. In 2018, Radio Times readers voted it the greatest British crime drama of all time. The cumulative international audience, accounting for decades of repeats on ITV3 and equivalent channels worldwide, has been estimated at 1 billion people. The franchise it generated is equally remarkable. Lewis ran for 33 episodes from 2006 to 2015. Endeavour ran for 36 episodes from 2012 to 2023. The world Dexter invented in 1975, sheltering from Welsh rain, is still on screen 50 years later.
And where it came from?
Vince Cranston.
Vince Cranston.
Fact 9. The first novel came from a holiday.
You're married, I'm sure, with a lovely wife and 2 lovely children.
As a matter of fact, I'm a bachelor.
Colin Dexter wrote the first Inspector Morse novel, Last Bus, to Woodstock in 1975 while sheltering from the rain on a family holiday in Wales. The Cambrian rain was relentless. Unable to do much else, he started writing. The book introduced a detective named after a bank chairman, set in a city Dexter loved, built around puzzles and classical music that reflected his own tastes directly. It was published in 1975 and found a modest readership before the television series transformed it into something else entirely. He wrote 13 novels in total, one roughly every 2 years, unhurried and precise, each constructed around the kind of intricate plotting that his crossword background made instinctive. The television series made 33 episodes, 20 more than the novels could support. The production commissioned original scripts to fill the gap. Dexter approved and remained involved as a creative presence throughout. He loved the adaptations so much that when Thaw changed the Lancia to a Jaguar, Dexter rewrote the novels to match. A wet Welsh holiday produced 13 novels, 33 television episodes, 33 Lewis episodes, 36 Endeavour episodes, and an audience estimated at 1 billion. Dexter could not have imagined any of this. Nobody could have.
Because you could tell her anything, she just understood. She understood everything. She was so beautiful. She'd never decorate herself for a man or anything, only for her own pleasure.
Fact 10. The ending was fixed from the start.
You must believe that it matters to me that everything goes well for you, but there's something I have to know now.
Morse's death was not a surprise that the television production invented. Colin Dexter had written it into his final novel, The Remorseful Day. Published in 1999, a year before the television version aired. The ending was fixed before a single scene of the finale was filmed. The final episode handles this with care. Morse is visibly unwell throughout. He drinks despite explicit medical advice. He takes on one last case knowing it may cost him what little health he has left. The heart attack, when it comes, feels earned rather than imposed. Thaw's performance in those final scenes, already seriously ill himself playing a man who knows he is dying, is considered by many viewers to be the finest work of his career. The restraint is absolute. Morse does not dramatize his death. He solves the case, and then he stops. The episode was watched by 12 million people in Britain. It aired in November 2000. John Thaw died 14 months later. The character and the actor who played him for 13 years left the screen within 18 months of each other, a coincidence that gives the final episode a weight that most television endings never carry.